Alright, so today's movies that we're reviewing came out this week. It is definitely kind of under the radar, made by Alex Garland, who I'll go into a little bit more. It's Annihilation. Um, Kind of a sci fi thriller horror movie. Um, Opening thoughts wise, going into this movie, did not know very much about it. I saw kind of one trailer, two trailer. I knew it was Natalie Portman. It was a very female led cast, and it was a kind of thriller slash kind of horror in some ways. Alien vibes potentially in it or not. I'll comment if that was the case later on, but it was directed by Alex Garland, who did Ex Machina in 28 Days Later. Ex Machina for me was one of the best films of 2016. It's one that I definitely recommend that people should go and watch and really take in. I don't know if it was 2016 or 2015. I apologize, but it is just a really good film. I had high expectations coming to this because I know the work and all the writing that's done, and I know Alex Garland as a director does good visuals, good shots, and really does a really good job building a story. So I went in with this with trusting that. Um, Paramount kind of, I'll be honest, hit a suckiness with Black Panther coming out last week and it having the success that it does with a variety of audience. I think Annihilation is going to be not too successful at the box office, which is kind of sad because I actually enjoyed the movie and I really like what the movie does and when it's done. But it's going to be tough going up against Black Panther and then leading into March, which is basically blockbuster season starting up when you have things like A Wrinkle in Time and Ready Player One. But this movie kind of going forward, I was really impressed with. Um, the first thing I want to comment on, is like originality. This felt different, you know. So many times you go to the movies nowadays and it's a comic book movie or it's a Star Wars movie or it's just an action movie. This felt for me original. And I'm thinking to myself, when was the last time we kind of had last movie I saw that was original in a way like this? And I couldn't help but think Arrival. Just kind of a different take on some kind of cool sci-fi story. I compare a lot of Annihilation to Arrival right now because it's in the sci-fi genre and it's just not exactly what other sci-fi films are now. It's not the Star Wars. It's not the Marvel like Guardians of the Galaxy. It's not the fluffy kind of sci-fi like Star Trek. This is its own type of thing, and I really like that, and that's why I'm comparing it to Arrival because I felt the originality in this movie. I just didn't ever think like, this is just a carbon cutter copy of this movie, or they just ripped off of this movie. I really liked the originality. It felt like its own story. It was based off a novel. I wish I had the name of it more. But it felt like an original script, an original concept, something that wasn't copied. And I thought Arrival was another movie like that, that very similar, like hit that genre style. The next big thing I gotta say I love in this was the score and kind of the music the score had throughout the movie. There's definitely the parts to make you have suspense, have fear. When you needed kind of wonky sci-fi style stuff, it put kind of a wonky sci-fi type of score in. It really helped make the movie move along as you went, through it. And I really felt that the score, because this was kind of such a separated piece, there were so many different parts. The score was the essential part of bringing everything together. So, without the with all this originality and all of this cool stories going on and everything, the music of the movie and the score of the music movie is what really helps the movie go along, and it really gets you making reactions during the film. And like I said, there's a lot of what I felt like 80s style score in there, even with sci-fi style scores, but also like the thriller type of scores. There's parts in this movie where you know something's happening because of the music. You know something's going to come to happen. You know you have to kind of be scared, but the music is so well done and so powerful, and the sound is so well done that even though you know it's going to happen, I liked it a lot. It was just a nice, refreshing way to kind of be like, huh, we don't need jump scares. The score is the more just as powerful as what the visual is, and I felt that did very well in this movie. Now, going on is the movie, the pacing and the plot. I was surprised when I got out of the movie and I saw that it wasn't even 2 hours from the start time of the movie, and that's like obviously including trailers and stuff. So like the runtime of this movie is under 2 hours, but I think and this is a compliment because of what this movie does. The movie feels more like a 2.5 hour movie. I didn't think this was a simple 2 hour movie. There's so much going on and so many details, and they definitely, with the pacing, make you feel like you're slower. Uh, for a good chunk of the movie, but not in a negative way. There's scenes and there's certain things you're going in and feeling, and there's a lot of things pacing wise that made the movie feel longer than it was, but I also think that's a good thing. This movie, as we go focus now more on the plot, is a very deep, in depth movie. It tackles a. So the main plot of the movie is that Natalie Portman's character is ex military, and she is a biologist that studies cells at Johns Hopkins and she teaches. Her husband, who's played by Oscar Isaac, is a kind of black ops style military officer, and he kind of shows back up out of nowhere, and she, sick and stuff, and it turns out that like he his last assignment was going into this uh, place that's been affected by something. And it has kind of like almost, I want to say, and it had a word for it in the movie, and it was such a good word I just forgot it, like a mist style thing. And he was the first person to come out of it, but he's sick, and that his wife Natalie Portman feels that the answer to his sick, why he's sick, is in this mist. Uh, so her and a variety of female scientists, which was nice because they made a point. This, originally it was all military going in there, but this is the first time they're sending a bunch of scientists. And what I like about it also, as a completely side note, is that it does not need to like advertise itself as a hey, we're a strong feminine led movie. It just has a lot of great female characters in this, and I liked how they had all these scientists at different angles and kind of learning about what's going on in this area where it's being affected by whatever this spreading, you know, smog or this type is. And as far as the plot, you know, I at first I was like, I don't know if I like this love story angle going through the movie. At some points, it doesn't really add anything. In some points, it feels like, but it doesn't take away. But the actual what's going on in their adventure to try to figure out, what the root cause of this is. There's a lot of just great plot. There's a lot of and this is a movie for me. I'm going to want to go back and rewatch again because I personally feel there's a whole bunch of hints and a whole bunch of things you can watch going forward that is really important. And I think there's one right off the bat. I don't want to say it because I don't want to make you think about it if you ever go see this movie. This is like a second time viewing. But there's definitely something between Natalie Portman's character and Tessa Thompson's character. For me, that's a complete standout that builds into what the movie was doing, and I don't want to talk about it because I feel like parts of this movie, there's a lot of things you can get spoiled, and there's a lot of things that going in, if you knew what it's about and what is happening in this mist area, it could kind of take away the enjoyment of your first viewing of the movie. But this is a movie for me that is so rich in plot and so rich in writing that you're going to want to read back and watch it. But also, this isn't a fluffy popcorn movie. You're gonna go and just have a good time. Like, hey, let's watch a movie to watch a movie. This is a movie where there is a lot of deepness. There's a lot of depth. There's a lot of personal motivations for each character. There's a lot of things going on to help explain what's going. And you know, in the end, you'll understand why this is a repeat movie. This is a movie that you kind of want to watch from second or third time to see what can you catch and really get in depth like an idea of like what the scope of the plot was. It was such a well written movie. Uh, the fact that it's much shorter than it feels really helps because that just shows you how in depth the movie is and how much you're focusing and how much thought you're putting into the movie as you're watching it. Which for me is a nice, refreshing taste from having a lot of blockbusters put out there nowadays. This was a refreshed kind of movie to go out there and think and have an original plot, but really make you think uh, and really, you know, intellectually watch a movie. You know, and acting in this movie was pretty well done. I felt there were some potential weak side characters in acting. The standout for sure was Natalie Portman. She plays the lead character, um, who is going in to try to find a way to save her husband. Uh, and the other standout I felt was Tessa Thompson, who was one of the side characters that is coming into the this filmy mist type thing with them. But they just do a really good job when they're in the forest of showing like everybody's different, what everybody else is fearing and the different type of emotions going through each person, and all of the just trivial things, and they do a good job of showing each one of them what they're doing. And they just, acting wise, it was very good. A nod to Oscar Isaac. He's a supporting character. He plays the husband. He is very limited in the movie. It's interesting because you're like, oh, that's Poe Dameron from Star Wars, but he does a very good job in the movie in his small part. And at first I'm like, I think they're just putting him in this movie because Alex Garland likes working with Oscar Isaac, or Oscar Isaac likes working with Alex Garland because he was an Ex Machina. But as the movie plays out and the more in depth you get, the more important that character comes, and I became more okay with it, and I kind of want to go back and watch from the start to get a second viewing of it. But definitely Natalie Portman was a standout. I thought this was some of her best work as of late. She's always been a great actress. A lot of people cast her into the early days because she played in the prequels as Padme, and she was given some bad lines, and she wasn't even that bad in those movies, but she's had great movies since then, like V for Vendetta, Swan Lake. Um, and if this is a movie she did instead of being put in the new Thor movie, I am perfectly okay with it. She was great in this movie. I really enjoyed her acting all throughout. Um, Special effects, the cinematography in this movie, especially for the landscape of the film and when they're in this kind of swampy area, which is where the mist is putting itself over, I thought was very beautifully shot, very well done. Alex Garland has a way with the camera to really just get the most out of every shot. This is a movie I might almost want to go watch in IMAX just because on my local theater and here where I live isn't the most fancy theater. Uh, but I could tell the quality of the shots with that theater where other movies I don't see this. This is a movie I would love to see in IMAX because if it looked good that in my theater, I'd love to see what it was like in an IMAX quality. Um, but besides cinematography, I thought what kind of lacked near the end, there was a couple CGI scenes, and you can kind of tell that this movie wasn't going overboard on budget, and it kind of made some iffy CGI scenes where you're just like, ooh. It still looked better than Black Panther CGI. Uh, but it didn't look as nice and crisp as the rest of the movie and how it was shot with the camera. And really, the cinematography and just, getting the environment. I'm not sure if this was like an on-site shooting, like a shoot, or if this was kind of green screened and then you put the extra stuff in there. But it was a beautifully shot movie, and the cinematography and most of the special effects I really liked. There was just one or two CGI moments where I was just like, the budget didn't go quite there, but that's okay because it isn't. This doesn't need to be a perfect CGI. It just kind of sucks that it's not. And that was took me out for a half a second, but that's okay. The peak of this movie is the thrilling aspects and just the figuring out what the hell is going on, and how to potentially solve that issue. I thought was just superb. Um, my rating overall for this is 8 out of 10. Um, it couldn't get too much higher just because besides Natalie Portman, I didn't think the acting was too great, and I do think in the middle of the movie, there's just a few scenes and a few like this one story arc that I'm just like, does it need to be in the movie? Like, I don't know if you needed a certain thing to be in the movie to really, enhance or to comment more on, a certain character, um, and what they're dealing with. But it's in there. It didn't have a negative effect, but it was just definitely something for me where I was like, I'm not. This doesn't change my opinion of this character. Like, I know this is supposed to make me think something, but I really didn't get that. Uh, but it was a strong movie. It's one that I recommend people go and see if they want to see something different, if they want to see a different style of movie, something they can think about. Definitely has high repeatability going for it. When you finish watching this movie, you're gonna sit and think and be like, "Oh, what did I just watch?" Like, it was good, I liked it, but what the hell is what did I just watch? But in a good way. I wish I can go back and watch this again and try to think of, okay, I know what happens at the end. I know what goes on through the middle and stuff. I have ideas of things that I think I noticed, but let me go ahead and I really want to focus on that and figure out what is happening in this movie. Uh, and I really recommend it. Like I said, if you're looking for a popcorn, just fluffer movie, this isn't the one for you. If you're looking for something kind of suspenseful, uh, this is a good movie to go to. If you're looking for something that's intellectual, this is a good movie to go to. If you're looking for kind of a sci-fi style thing, again, this movie is a good one to go to. Originality, good movie to go to. Um, it hits a lot of check marks, and that's why I think it's a really good it's a good quality movie. And I really do recommend it for people if you're looking to go and enjoy something new, something that's not just the easy popcorn action fluff, something with a little bit more depth. Um, and it was definitely one of my favorite movies to start out 2018. I like Black Panther because I like the message it sends, and I thought it did a good job with the material, and it really was entertaining. Um, I think it had a lot more stronger female characters, which is, and things like that. I thought the side characters were stronger in Black Panther than in this movie. That's why it's a little bit higher rating. But this one is definitely, I think, going to go under the radar, going to be kind of underrated, but is really a good movie. I hope that it does well because I know Paramount is kind of in a rough patch after last year's kind of bust year financially at the box office. I really hope this does well because this is one of the best movies I've seen them make in a while. And I really like Alex Garland and what he does, and I think that this is a movie that deserves being viewed. Well, with that, I would ask that if you see this, give it a like. Maybe have a comment. This is going to be the second video up on my new YouTube channel that I started to kind of start putting these movies out there. Um, if there's a movie you want me to go watch and review, put it in the comments. I just like going to movies. I have a movie pass. I get to see one movie a day. Tomorrow I plan on, tomorrow as in the 24th, I plan on going to see Game Night, a totally different style movie with a comedy background, and try to get a review up for that as well too this weekend. And then we're getting there. We're starting right soon in March. We're gonna get A Wrinkle in Time. We're gonna have Ready Player One. There's a lot of good movies coming out in March and April, leading up until the Infinity Wars and other things like that. And I'm really excited. I'm happy this movie came out and I got to see it because I kind of heard rumors that Paramount didn't have faith in it, but I was happy to see that this was actually a really good movie, and it deserves to be seen. And I'm hoping that Black Panther just doesn't cover it up in terms of money because this movie is worth going to see for a lot of people. And with that, I wish you guys all a good day, and I hope to see you soon.